We're back with another episode of Mojo Talk Radio, and today we're diving right in. We're not going to do a whole lot of introduction. I want to introduce you to today's special guest, Sherrice Kirby, and she was an earlier guest on Mojo Talk Radio. I'm having her back here because she's going to help us talk and move into a deeper space, which I really am very grateful for her to have this conversation because it is a place in which I love to believe that I'm going and residing. And here's someone that can take us to that place. So Sherrice, thank you for being with us here on Mojo Talk Radio. And Sherrice, please help us understand how you help those others out there in the world.
Oh, thank you for having me today. I love playing with you, Pamela. It's always something new to learn from you. So I'm Sherrice. I basically, my work in this world is constantly being revealed to me with every moment. But for the most part, I work with women that are trying to remember who the hell they are and how they've landed in this place of life. And I tend to attract a couple different types of experience with women. So one is a woman that's, her corporate life's taken over. She's a big entrepreneur, has tons going on, but in the space of all that, she's maybe lost a little bit of herself, or she's like, oh, I'm still not fulfilled and happy. What's next? And then I also help a lot of people with their business development. So people are like jig-jagging with lots of ideas, and they're like, what do I do with all this? And I help them create the container for what it's going to look like in this world, help them map it out and get super clear on what it is that they want to bring into the world. I work with a lot of artists as well. My house is full of art because I can't work with these people without doing that work. And basically I shaman their soul and help them birth what it is they want into this world through my work. I'm one part, I guess, spiritual teacher. I don't like some of the words that are used to describe that, so I don't know where they land for me. And on the other part, I'm just this business lady. So,
well, welcome. Thank you for that. Thank you. I really appreciate your energy. I think the first time we met for coffee here in Victoria, one of the things that I do believe remember saying to you is that you have that sort of big kick-ass energy in which I truly aspire and sort of glam onto, because I'll be honest, and if people want to get mad about that, that's okay, but I find it difficult to find, because one has to really be okay with being honest about who they are to be able to pull that off well. So thank you for being that person who feels enough honesty within self to walk around and let it show, and not feeling that you have to hide it from the world to be acceptable to yourself and to your people. So thank you.
Thank you. Honesty. Well, there's a big topic. I think that, when we say, I'm just going to name this. I think that maybe sometimes why women don't show up as who they fully really are is because it's been spoken into us to not be that. And, we can shitstorm the patriarchy all day, but maybe that's what it is. I think that we've come, it's bold and courageous as a woman even still, which is so sad for me to say that, to be showing up and being fully who we are, because we've been sort of, we still don't have equality. So to just jump into it and go, I'm not willing to listen to the oppressor, sorry. And I'm going to do my thing. Yeah, it's a courageous act. And, some of us are born under certain signs that make us more bold than others. And I, after lifetimes and being burned on the pyre, I'm like, really, what more do I have to lose? So I'm just going to show up, and what's going to happen in this life's going to happen. And I think that what I'm capable of doing to myself is probably worse than what others could do. So I might as well just go for it. But getting women to stand in that place, yeah, it's a lot of work into the deep remembering of who we really are.
Nice. So give us a little insight, Sherrice, in how we as females tend to hold ourselves back. What does that look like for us, especially as entrepreneurs?
Right now, I think we're all caught up in paying too much attention to what everyone else is doing instead of just doing what we want to do. caught up in what the latest online guru is selling us so that we can be like them. And this is marketing. This has been around for days. It's like for eons. It's like why the guy goes and buys the sexy car because he thinks he's going to get the girl. This is that very thing manifested now through online marketing to women that offers us this carrot like, oh, if you do this like me, if you buy my online program, you can have XYZ. And I'm not saying that some of it isn't amazing and that, yes, people do get results from certain programs. And yes, people have launched multi-million-dollar empires by listening to other mentors and gurus. But we're being sold a bill of goods through a marketing system that puts us in a funnel that takes us on a ride that maybe we're actually not supposed to go on.
You know, Sherrice, I wrote an article the other day about the simplicity of it all and to stop funneling ourselves to death and driving ourselves crazy trying to match up to the next step and the next step and the next step and losing who we are. We haven't even figured out who we are, what we want, but onboarding the next thing. And when I wrote that article and released it, I felt this tremor because I'm thinking I'm almost going against the grain here on what is being taught and what all the sort of people of the day are saying. And who am I to say that, right? What's my mark in the world? That I have the sort of noteworthy success out there to say, well, forget that, people, you're wasting your time. Only reason I wrote it and said it was how I felt. That everyone's staring down at the wrong road and I think missing something. I don't know what the something is, but I just felt that something was being missed because we're always looking over here.
Yeah, you literally named it. We're looking over here instead of looking in here. Instead of like paying attention to what's true for us and paying attention to our own business.
Yeah.
And I say business is in the business you're creating and minding your own business. And, you know, those words are just they're critical because if you're constantly, like I land with a lot of women who are like, I bought this program, I bought this, I bought that. And I'm like, okay, first rule of thumb, you're not buying another thing or working with anyone else for the next 6 months. Well, we just iron out your truth and just get really clear on what it is you even want to bring into this world. Right. And I think for me, because I've had this come at me, I've had people like, Sherrice, why aren't you next leveling this? And why aren't you doing this and doing that? And I'm just, part of it is, well, I'm really well fed by my middle income. I'm not starving, so maybe I don't have a fire in my belly, but I would say I have a different fire in my belly. And that's the fact that I really, I still have a fire in my belly, but there's a contentment around what I've already created.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, Sherrice, because I think a lot of people are being seduced into thinking that success is the stuff. We still have that stuff mentality going on big time. The mark of your success is the address, where you live, who you're with, what you're wearing, the label, the brand, all of it. And I get that's the system where we've agreed to play in at some point. Okay, I get it. Okay. But
I don't hang out with those people, so thanks for reminding me.
Pardon?
I said I don't hang out with those people, so thanks for reminding me.
Well, they're there. Yeah. They're everywhere. They're all around.
Yeah, and I guess
family. They're in my family. They're all of these things. So they're everywhere. So there's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with anybody, as far as I'm concerned. I'm just wondering though, for those that are taking a certain path, because there's two arguments to this. Success is this, or just be okay with what you got going on and just, to me, I use the term spiral up a lot. If you listen to a lot of this, spiral up, but spiral up to what? When I talk spiral up, I'm talking spiral up to the next good feeling place that you can get yourself to. Does that mean the Maserati? I don't know. That's your conversation, right? My conversation is there's a certain meaning for that. And I think when you talk about helping those women find their truth before they go and spend more money on yet another course because they're afraid of missing out, I believe that's what you're alluding to. We're so busy onboarding that we don't even know what it is anymore.
Yeah, like there's nothing wrong with stuff. So I'm just going to name that. Like, if you want a nice house, if you want a nice car, those are all, I believe they're options that we can add to our lives. Like, I need a certain size vehicle because it has to have a kennel in the back for me to lug my dog around so I can get to the mountain and hike it. So, um, but those are all options. And sometimes I guess I play this little game with myself sometimes is I'm like, okay, what if the world goes to complete crap? Like, bad stuff happens. What do I absolutely need? So, and then I take the word need away and I'm like, well, truthfully, what do you need? And I'm like, okay, if it's all gone, if I have that husband still and that child, hopefully the dog's in tow too, and we can get some food, water, and maybe even have a comfortable bed to sleep in, I'm okay. So I play this game so that anything that I have beyond that is gravy. It's awesome. And I fully feel like I am the creatrix of my life. I manifest everything. The good, what I may perceive as not great in the moment, but is possibly medicine and a learning opportunity. So I'm able to sit in that, I guess, and I just strip it all away and go, okay, what is it? And then from that place, I can go, okay, well, now what is it I truly want to create in this world? Like, what is it? What would be healthy, or what's our next big adventure? I like adventures more than stuff. So, I'm happy to have, I don't need, a $200,000 car to make me happy or anything like that. I don't need any of it. Like I said, what do I need? I really love that I've got those two humans, and the rest of it is fun. And I'm grateful. Don't get me wrong. Everything I'm attracting and how I produce money in this world and what comes in, I have extreme gratitude for it. And I fully own that it's due to a lot of privilege. I live in Canada, in this beautiful free country on an island. And my husband works. I work. We have the means. I'm white. I'm heterosexual. I have all of maybe I have all these things that make my life easy. So I don't take that for granted for a minute. And I ensure that so if I'm given all that, then that's great responsibility as well. So radical self-responsibility that I do good with my life and I do good work in this world, and that where I hear a calling or where I have a curiosity, that I follow it so that I'm led, and so to speak. And then I get to create awesome work in this world. And I have to say, I don't want to, there is a non-attachment to it, I think, a bit as well. I let go. Like, I have to say, when I first started my coaching journey and started doing this, I was like, oh, I have this great message to emboss in the world, and I'm going to do this and all that. And I literally, like, goddess or whatever you want to call it, called total bullshit on me eventually. And I was like, no, it isn't that. And now I just kind of sit in a place of, okay, I'm just a girl doing a thing, and we're going to see what happens here. And I don't get caught up in fooling myself. Like, yeah, I might do something. Some people might come along. They may believe it, but I have no desire to be some great guru. Maybe I'll speak on a few stages and maybe I won't. And I'm really not in the attachment of having to show up, be on Oprah or any of that anymore. I have to say, when I started out, I wanted all that because I witnessed other people doing it and I thought that, oh, that's my birthright. And now I'm in a place of why was that even important to me? Because to me, that's just another form of the marketing. It's just another lusting after something else. We stopped lusting.
Just did. I love that you're saying that, because one of the realizations I came to was that, somebody was saying, get on the speaking circuit. None of those things make my heart sing. To me, it's just more pushing at something. It's that pushing feeling that says no. And there are times, and we've all done it, we've ignored the pushing feeling because we see other people doing it. Mm-hmm. And you ignore that still voice that says, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. What are you doing? Until something happens to you. I had to get sick to stop the crazy.
Oh.
And that brought me down. And when I recovered, I just didn't feel like it anymore. So what do? I sit in my house and I talk to people. I'm on my own Oprah show. I'm on my own.
Exactly. Oh my God. And I love that. And also, creatrix of your reality. I know, happen to know that you walk out your door and you're a couple steps from the beach, like, or a couple steps from our beautiful downtown. So, wow. You're like, if you've created that, then what more is it that you want? Like, granted, I do want.
And when I told you about the coffee experience, to most people that's just so silly. But you understand what I'm saying. I'm sitting in a courtyard over here by the little coffee shop, coffee in hand. The sky is blue. It's a little bit cloudier now because of smoke coming down from wherever it's coming down from. But in that moment, this moment couldn't get any better. Now the moment has shifted off, but it clued me in. That's really as good as we can get it.
Okay.
Everything else is just everything else.
I love it that you talked about that. So I was just teaching my group this morning, and we talked about this before we started recording. So I was speaking to my group about what I call it's the subtlety of moments, and can we sit in them and and realize we're in them and be present with them. And part of what has spurred this is, my daughter is now up to here on me, and her feet are officially bigger than mine now. So I've had this little bit of like, oh, wow. And this longing for her to be like 4 again and on my lap and snuggled into me and to be nursing her. And I'm feeling this weight of a moment instead of beauty of a moment, so to speak, in the fact that she's growing. And then it occurred to me, I'm like, wait, she's going to be 18 and I'm going to wish she was 11 again. So stop this racing. And what if you got really present with the subtlety of these moments? So we're walking so we go for a walk, and I'm just sitting in the space of such presence of what does it smell like right now? And look at her, and then walking by her, and I can smell her hair, and looking at her smile, and just capturing these moments and listening to her laughter, and just letting her babble on and on and on, like 11-year-olds like to, talking about all these things that you really don't have interest in, but you just want to be so present with them in their moments. And so that's where I am right now. That's where I'm sitting. And I'm like, and let me always sit in this is where I'm going. Like I don't want to be in a contradictory space to this. I just want to be in that space. It doesn't mean that I don't want to be doing that in Italy or on the next great adventure. Yeah, I do. I want to be on adventures, and I want to show her.
I hope you do it in Spain and Tuscany soon. So.
Oh yes, exactly. So, and doing the same thing. So I think that's what I was talking to my group about, was just like, can you notice these subtle moments? Because, if this is the last day, how do you want to live it? And it's such a cliche statement, but at the same time, I'm like, without altering a thing, I think I just want to be really, really present with you at this moment, with my daughter in her moments. And I want to appreciate how my body feels while I'm climbing and sweating, and how this muscle hurts, because wow, that muscle hurts because I'm alive and I'm doing something with it. So it's just, it's a level of presence that I've been living at for a long time, but that you keep getting reminded of.
Yeah.
And her having to, what birthed it was her putting her foot next to mine and it being about this much longer. And I'm like, this is happening. She's going to grow up one day. And my husband and I just celebrated our 18-year anniversary. And I made a post that just went crazy about my love for him and stating like, how are we doing this? And really, it wasn't fluffy. It was just truth. It was like, we don't do our bullshit in our marriage. It was some of these subtle things that people then I started getting all these messages like, how do you do that? And how do you do this? And I'm like, okay, like, what am I birthing now? A marriage course, or what am I doing now? I guess this is a conversation I need to have, because I didn't think it was such a great accomplishment to be married for 18 years, but I guess it is. And, so I'm just in a real taking stock place, and a real non-attachment to having to be anything but what I am right now. And the other thing we talked a bit about was the word authenticity. And I've had a bore of that word lately. And because I've kind of thought, like, if we're having to say this is authentic, then it really is it. And just going to these depths of that. And what I was saying to my group this morning was when I was at, like, someone said, like, how do you recognize when a moment's authentic, or what is authentic? And what I instantly went to was this imagery of growing up on the ranch, on the farm, and my mother with a handkerchief in her hair, and us kids running around half naked and being really dirty and toiling in the soil, and doing what it was to create a life. And those are authentic moments. And I think that we're getting wrapped up a bit in spiritual lingo sometimes, instead of just sitting in life and just being in it.
And I'll
and
jump in on
remembering.
there. I remember 25 years ago, when we were really starting to get comfortable with the mainstream conversation around spirituality and the difference between that and religion, and people feeling okay about starting to talk about this. I think it's just an evolution of where we are to feel comfortable around this, and we're going to birth into another generation of what it means as we fall deeper and deeper and deeper. We hit on the word levels, or next levels, or what it is, and in my thing, it's like steps. We are people. We're growing into the knowledge of the next thing, and somebody starts the conversation, everybody else gets comfortable with it and jumps in. It's like that whole early adopter thing, where a new idea comes, the first few are seen as crazy.
Yeah, evolution. I like the word that keeps coming. Like we're witnessing somewhat of an evolution in our waking up.
Right. That's right. And the lingo, although maybe it gets tiresome, the words get taught to death. And because we're on social media, where 60 people in your newsfeed have just used the thing because it's the word of the day. But it's also comforting to know that people are willing to have those conversations, even if they're not quite sure what it just means yet.
Oh yeah. The conversations are important. And I think also getting willing to have the hard conversations.
Yes.
I think is the stuff that I find myself in. Not that, and I'm not talking about arguing with people on the internet. Oh my gosh, I don't have any time for that.
No.
Not at all. But having like the hard conversations about like what really is grief, and is rage appropriate? Well, heck yeah, it's a form of love. So being willing to have these hard conversations, and truths, like being willing to be called out on our marketing practices, and are they oppressive, or are they hurting people? Being willing to face, to just do this hard work as we educate. And I see that is where things are sort of going now, as I'm watching, women now have this power to create, and can we do it in a way that doesn't hurt other women, and can we ensure that we're almost, or ourselves. Yeah. So that we're sitting in integrity in everything we're doing. And we have that beautiful, we have that innate feeling. We know in our guts, but for so long we've been not listening to our gut, or we've been,
we terrorize ourselves because we think we're not keeping up. Especially women, we don't feel like we're keeping up. Or even if we've accomplished over here, we got our education, we did the mom thing, but what about the dream and the business and the goals, and what my coach or mentor is wanting me to do? It's where do you look is I think now the craze.
You got to look in. Like you have to look in. And I have different mentors who've come in and out of my lives, but I have to say that I feel like I am on a mentorless journey at this point. I am choosing really to listen so deeply to my own truth and remembering. And that's, and to the point where I'm like a bold no to things.
You are the mentor.
Yeah. And also, but I also truly do believe too that I don't believe in hierarchy. I believe it's an illusion. I do believe we are all connected. We are all one. And yes, those are hard conversations to have, but I don't believe I believe you're the guru to your own life. And I think that we need to, as all human beings, stop bypassing our truth to someone else. Yes, get provoked, get thinking, get feeling, listen, but I witness a lot of bypassing to the next expert versus going, is that really your truth? And is that your experience? And are you sure? Like, and even I'm constantly having to go, whoa, I don't have your answer. Like, we can dig into this and I can tell you what I download and what I see and what I hear, but you really need to try it on in your system.
I'm laughing not at you, only because we're on the same wavelength today, because I wrote something really quick. It said, to make your ugly move, meaning the conventional wisdom that we've been taught, some of it's still very wise and still we need to listen, but other stuff, because things have changed, have now turned into limited beliefs. And
Mm-hmm.
what are you still following? To look at that, turn around and say, is this my wisdom? Is it someone's wisdom I've onboarded because I trust them? Just like how we used to trust certain people out there, like doctors and priests and things like that. And we pushed ourselves down because who are we in comparison to that?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what you're talking about here is we are not giving ourselves the space or we're not giving ourselves the kudos for knowing or connecting to what we do. We all know it.
And also, okay, forgive yourself, because this is society trained you this way, and patriarchy told you that you needed to bypass your truth to someone else, because heaven forbid you start trusting yourself and you start communicating with your sisters and stop squabbling because, oh my gosh, you could take the world over. Because it's built oppressively so that you're bypassing to another truth.
To keep you in place, to keep it locked down, to keep it
Yeah.
here held in. The genie's not escaping, so forth and so on.
Yeah,
And then,
control the masses.
yes, and anybody that suggests that that can be different is seen as some sort of lunatic.
You're burned at the stake for witchcraft. So,
Yeah,
and we still do it. The witch
yeah,
hunt is still on. Like, we
yeah.
still do it. And I say that because I'm from a lineage of that, but also in the fact that, we're constantly looking for, we're still looking for, okay, what am I trying to say here? We are still afraid to go there in ourselves because it's still easier to listen and bypass. It's still, so there's
Well,
still.
what about the risk of standing out there alone, waving your flag of truth, and feeling as if the world is against you? People do not want the arrows in the back. They want someone to go first, prove
I
it.
would say I would say to that question, I'm not the one to answer it. I would say let's ask our trans, our sisters and brothers that are battling right now like crazy for what freedom looks like for the rest of us. I'm not an oppressed person in those ways. So those are the people that I think could really answer that question because they're doing it. Like, I may be standing up and going, hey, I have a thing or two to say about what I believe the truth is around who God really is, but I don't think I'm saying anything too bold, to be truthful. I'm not necessarily like, I think that there are a lot of people in the world right now who are doing really bold shit.
They're
And
changing how society is running in their parts of the world.
exactly. And so I kind of, in those moments, like, and as a woman of color, I believe I need to shut my mouth and follow you on that, to be truthful, because I have privilege. And yes, we all have certain privilege, but those are the women that I think I need to listen to because they're dealing with things I haven't had to deal with. I grew up in a small town on a horse ranch, and yes, I was very religiously oppressed. We were the only non-Catholic family in a Catholic community, and my mother was the local witch doctor. So yes, I know what that oppression feels like. But I've also been able to walk around in the world as a white Canadian girl.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm doing anything bold, to be truthful. And maybe now I'm going to have to go journal because that question really rocks me. I'm like, what am I doing that's bold? Well, maybe really nothing. I think I'm having a really, maybe this is a lifetime where I chose to come and just kind of have a mellow experience. I don't know. I can't say it's all been mellow. Actually, there's been a ton of fury and fire, and I'm certainly born with a certain fire, but that, yeah, you just gave me an unanswerable question. Thank you.
Well, I don't think it's unanswerable. It's probably just time in and reflection for
Mm-hmm.
everybody listening, including myself. There are questions that can't be answered on the spot. It takes
Yeah.
some time so you can unpack it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you sit for a minute in it. And that's really what that is. So while you sit in it and unpack it slowly, it's another reason for you to come back. Well, okay. But also, let me move into another place and say, can you give us a couple of points that we maybe can take away from this conversation so we can start to move into that space that you talk about, that I want to call it intimate, reflective moments?
Um, I'm not exactly the grandmother of talking presents that's been around for a long time, but I guess for me, it's just, wow, okay, this is where I'm going to go. Um, I like making love to moments. Can I be present? Can I actually be in pleasure and enjoy while I'm doing these dishes? Can I look at this as not a mundane task that's taking me from A to B, but can I actually be so present as the suds are on my hands and I'm washing these dishes? Can that be a movement of beauty as I do this because I'm providing for my family? Can I get in my car and drive and roll down the window a little bit and smell the lake as I drive by, as I take my daughter to music? Can I listen to her as she sings and just be so present with that moment instead of running to the grocery store to get the next thing? I guess what I want to talk about that's almost bringing me to tears is I don't want to strive right now. Like, can we, like, yes, there's going to be striving. Yes, I still have to make money. I still have to provide food, but I just want to be so intimate with every moment because I don't know when this journey is going to end. And I chose to come into this body. So can we just play there for a while? Can you just sit there and when I sit there, there's no room for anxiety. There's no room for, you know, any other moment, anything but what is truth. And that may not be happiness. I'm not saying you're going to be happy. Maybe you're going to feel grief in that second, but can you sit in that then? Or maybe you're going to get angry. Can you sit in that and have no attachment to it having to change, to it having to be anything other than what it is, and to accept and go, this is my truth right now. And that's all I need. And
Drop the stuff.
yeah, just let it go. Like,
Drop.
it's so funny. I'm not wearing makeup for interviews anymore. I'm not even doing my hair
Oh,
half the
I gotta do my Mojo red. I'm sorry. That's just.
time. Well, it's your trademark. It's good. I think I'm just becoming more, and maybe it's for me, it's summer. I swear I'm dressed. I do have a dress on, but it looks like I'm naked. But it's so hot in my house right now.
Views on this one. Yes, she is naked.
Woo! Oh my goodness.
But you know what? One of my a favorite quote from one of my favorite shows, Downton Abbey, from Carson the Butler. And Carson said, "There's only one thing he knows: life is short and death is sure." So if you are aware of this, that life is short and death is sure, what are you going to be doing in the meantime?
Mm-hmm. I want to add one other point. Just what if you just show up and do your thing? And without an attachment, without a belief that, oh my God, it needs to land on the masses, that you need to write the book about it, that you need to be speaking to millions. What if you just showed up and talked to one person? And what if you just were present with this meeting? Like right now with you, Pamela, you're my world at this second. Like, can I be so into you? And the intimacy that, oh my God, I got to have a conversation with a beautiful woman that I admire and is amazing and has so much good to do in this world. But just be so unattached to it having to go anywhere else. And that's where I'm finding my peace. And it's not like I'm giving up on goals and dreams. It's that I have clarity on those goals and dreams like I've never had before.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for that. And of course, that only means I'm going to have to bring you back.
I love it.
Because,
Except we live in the same city, so I'm going to make you come out to me, or I'm going to come to you, and we're going to do it side by
oh, I got
side.
to come to the horse farm. Oh my gosh, right? No, but seriously though, this opens the gateway to so much more deep conversation, which I totally love. And I started off this conversation, and maybe people will get mad at me. Oh well, but it's sometimes hard to get out of people because they're worried about perception, image, all of that, and I'm just looking for the conversation.
I love it. And yeah, really, what are relationships? What is anything? They're just
Just
conversations.
conversations.
Yeah.
So, Sherrice, thank you so much. I mean, that you've been a big blessing here for me and for those that are watching and being fed by your words and your wisdom and your realness and your you're talking about not doing anything bold. You just did something bold. You buried yourself. That's what a lot of people don't. So thank you. So you are doing some bold work out there, right there. You can write that in your journal. Pam
Thank you.
said.
I will.
Pam said I'm doing some bold stuff.
Pam said I'm doing bold stuff.
So, Sherrice, how can we find you online?
You can find me at sherrice.com, which is SHERRICE.com. Or if you go Great Life Designs, I created something easier because no one can spell my name. You'll find me there. You'll find me on Facebook. You'll find me on Instagram at Sherrice C. Ohm. I'm on Twitter. You just got to go look for me. Anything Great Life Designs is pretty much me.
And I've heard some great stuff about your retreats. I got to find my bottom there sometime.
Oh, they're amazing. Yes, they're fun.
Well, thank you, my dear. It's been a fabulous conversation. You got me going here, so we'll definitely be talking again. And to the Mojo Talk audience, thank you for joining us here again. And please leave your comments, and please follow this woman. She is powerful in her own right, and she's got some really incredible, I would say, heart connectiveness things to converse with you about that goes way below the surface. And for those of you that are looking for that deeper dives, here's another somebody that you can start following and attach to. So once again, thank you to everybody. And see us again here on Mojo Talk Radio, where we're always spiraling you up in all areas of your life.